Welcome back to Sports Elect Sports Talk here on Shaw TV. We are talking Explode Football at McDowell's Gym here in downtown Winnipeg. Joined once again by co-owner Dave Beakley. I want to talk a little bit about what makes a football player, because we've all had a little something to do with training, working out, that type of thing. What's the first thing that you would work on with a kid?
Explosiveness is probably one of the key elements to training for football. Regardless of what position you play, having very explosive hips. You're a defensive back, you got to come out of your breaks quick. You're an offensive lineman, you got to come out of your stance quick. You're a quarterback and you're throwing the deep ball, you got to pop your hips and get that rotation around. So that hip drive is very important. You're looking at, you start with split squats, some form of deadlift. We've got a trap bar that helps our guys deadlift be in a bit better form. And once their backs are trained enough, we get into some squats with them and everything that's driving their hips through. Other than that, getting them strong and fast. A lot of hamstring work, a lot of posterior chain work, just making sure our guys are healthy, strong hamstrings and very, very fast.
Now, you talked a bit about squats, hamstrings, and I noticed the one machine that you had in there with Explode Football on it. That really is about working the legs, isn't it?
That rack does everything. I wish we had 10 of those in there. You can squat 2 guys at once in there. It's tall enough that you can press overhead in it. It's got a jammer, which is a classic football machine where you kind of get down and see the position and you pop your hips through and extend your arms. You can do chin-ups in it. It has band attachments, chain attachments. You can literally do everything in that thing, and it's why we got the Explode Football branded on it, because it's our flagship program, and it's kind of giving it back to the kids.
Talk a bit about the exercises, Dave, that when you now talk about size, when you look at guys like Evan Gill and Quinn Horton in there, just talk about what exercises they're working on specifically now to get that big.
Genetics. Some of the stuff you can't teach, right? We didn't make Evan 6'5". We didn't make Quinn 6'5".
No.
But with all of our kids, you take the frame that they're given and you make the best with it. And you're looking at things, like I said, we do a lot of trap bar deadlift. We do a lot of low back work. Not only is it great for improving your lifts, it's very, very important for athletics. And then, once their low backs are strong enough, squats. Bench press, of course, is inevitable for training for football. Rotator cuff is extremely important. We have 10 to 12 different rotator cuff exercises that we do with our kids. And we've been fortunate that we've had a great track record with injuries. Unless it's a freak injury, we haven't had any nagging hamstrings. We haven't had any, torn labrums in the shoulder, any nagging shoulder injuries, anything like that. So we've been very lucky. And again, it's just smart exercise selection.
I want to go back to the rotator cuff thing, because Quinn Horton said that was the exercise he probably least enjoyed. What's so tough about that one? You know what?
It's just a very, very underdeveloped muscle. It's a different movement, but it's just, like I said, you're working a new muscle that's so underdeveloped. It is a test, again, that we use with your rotator cuff. That should be a certain percentage of what you can bench press. When we used to train Donnie O, who's now with the Edmonton Eskimos, he was on the ground doing it with 8 pounds, and we had a high school volleyball player doing it with 8 pounds beside him, and he was just like, I can't believe that there's a muscle in my body this week. And if you've seen Don, you can't believe there's any muscle that's weak. But it's just, we try to find those things in every athlete so there's no weaknesses.
And talk a bit about once kids get older and specialize in their position too, then I guess the training gets specific for a position as well, right?
Very specific. We have defensive backs. They don't have to have 500 pounds on their back and squat. It's nice if they do, but that's not the goal, right? We'd rather see the bar move a lot quicker. Whereas, an offensive or defensive lineman, then you're trying to, pick up more heavy weight, push more heavy weight, where it doesn't necessarily have to be as fast. Then we get out in the field where we're doing this kind of stuff. The skill position guys, they got to be moving more quickly. Where the bigger guys, we've got a heavier tire for them. We've got an 800-pound instead of a 450-pound tire. Different things like that. So it is very specific for the different positions.
You think you can walk me through some of this?
Gladly. Think you can make it through?
We're going to walk before we run.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right. Stay with us.